Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Market Forecast, brought to you by Options University. This is Butch Shorak. It's Monday, September 22nd, 2014. Access to this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing contained in this video, website, or promotional material constitutes a promotional recommendation, solicitation, or offer of any particular investment, security, or transaction. Options University provides educational services that are meant to teach you the risks and rewards of trading stocks and options. We're not a service that tells you what to trade. We're not implying or guaranteeing an effort profit, and as always, do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Well, we made it through options expiration week, and as we made it through, let's look at what kind of results we saw for the week, both in the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000. Looking at all four indexes, we look at the numbers and we see positive numbers in everything except for Russell 2000, our small cap stock, again lags, not even up for the year. As we look at the percent change for the week, we see the Dow up a whopping 1.7%, NASDAQ up 0.3%, S&P 500 up 1.3%, and there's the Russell 2000 down 1.2%. Year to date, we have some pretty lofty figures. The Dow up 4%. The NASDAQ up almost 10%, and the S&P 500 up 8.8%, and finally the Russell in negative numbers for the year at minus 1.4%. So there seems to be some lagging in the Russell 2000. Other than that, one heck of a week for you bulls in the other major indexes. Looking at the economic announcements, having made it through quadruple witching last week, we'll find what do we have going on this week as far as economic announcements. And when we look at Monday, nothing to talk about. Looking at Tuesday, we see that there's not a heck of a lot going on until 9:45 when we have the PMI at 9:45. And then looking at Wednesday, we've got new home sales coming out at 10 a.m., petroleum status report at 10:30. Again, nothing there that's going to move the market very much. Every single Thursday, we have weekly jobless claims coming out at 8:30. Also, durable good orders, a monthly report coming out. And we see that's about it for Thursday, September 25th. Big one coming out on Friday, GDP September 26th, and then finally looking at consumer sentiment at 9:55 a.m. Not a week loaded with a whole lot of economic announcements, but certainly the important ones coming at the end of the week. Now let's take a look at this SPX chart. What do we call that? We call that an upcycle and an uptrending market. It looks pretty darn strong. We see that we came into the week. Monday was not any big day, and the overall trend on the market is still up as we look at longer term charts. Looking at a shorter term chart on the SPX, we'll see Monday we got our not exactly a doji, but certainly a reversal signal confirmed on Monday as we saw a big move up in the market, on Tuesday, and it continued on up on Wednesday, Thursday, and looks like kind of a topping signal taking place on Friday, and we'll see whether that continues. The S&P futures, as we look at Monday morning, Sunday night, down about 10, 11 points going into the open. We'll see what happens as this market opens Monday morning. We're entering into October at the end of the week. But in general, when we look at this last week in September, if we look since 1990, the average loss in the Dow is down 1.2%, and it's been week after September triple witching or quadruple witching in this case. The Dow was down 18 of the last 23 years. So a little weaker week in the market as we approach that month of October. Of course, October known as the Jinx month, as we've certainly had some disasters take place during the month. I don't expect any this October, but you never know when they are coming. But it's known as the Jinx month because we had crashes in 1929, of course, the all-famous one. In October in 1987, a 554-point drop on October 27th, 1997. Back-to-back massacres in 1978 and 1979. Friday the 13th in 1989, which certainly was something to remember. And the meltdown in 2008 took place in October. Yet, we don't consider October to be a horrible month. It's just that it certainly have had some days of infamy take place during that month of October. Looking at the Dow, we see the Dow, oh, look at this thing, shoot straight up, all new time highs, up there well over 17,000 as the Dow showed us how a market can jump 5 days in a row. Breakout, can you say? Well, we'll see how far this goes. What we've been seeing is we've been seeing that breakout, then we see somewhat of a consolidation afterwards. So we'll see what happens as we look at the Dow and the rest of our indexes taking place on Monday. Remember, the futures are down about 10 points on Sunday night. We'll see whether that continues into the open on Monday morning. You can check that, of course, by checking your futures prior to the market opening. Looking at the NASDAQ, we got a nice little move out of the NASDAQ on Tuesday, Wednesday, but we kind of got a reversal signal taking place. And notice we're getting constriction of our Bollinger Bands, so could have a little change taking place, a little consolidation taking place in the NASDAQ as we see it not leading the way up as like the Dow did. Looking at the S&P 500, where did we go with our S&P 500 chart? We looked at that earlier. Let's look at the Russell 2000, and boy, that led us on down on Friday. Big day down on the Russell as we're seeing a lack of strength there, as the Russell not showing us any great big numbers here, and certainly consolidation looking at our moving averages not showing us the strength of the other indexes. Looking at the VIX, we see the VIX we're basically back down around that no fear zone at 11, not showing any big moves out of the VIX, and we'll see what happens during this week, which traditionally is a weaker week in the market. All right, looking at some of our ETFs to see what the other sectors are doing. Looking at TLT, we see we've had a bit of a pullback in the bond market after its rally earlier in the month of August, and we see it pop up a little bit on Friday as we had a little bit of fears beginning to show up in the market. Maybe that certainly is a buy signal for you looking at indexes and looking at charts, as we got a reversal signal with our doji and then a higher high, higher low. How far will it go? Well, we'll see. No big changes coming out of the Fed, so overall we're still at an uptrend. Looking at gold, we see no movement to gold whatsoever, and we're not going to have any movement to gold until we get some fear in that market. Gold showing us a great deal of weakness. What kind of volume did we have? Well, on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we had stronger than average volume as we had a nice little move up in it, and then Friday we had some volume as we had that bit of a pullback in the spider. And finally, let's take a look at our financials. We see the financials looked very much like the S&P as we saw move up in the market, and then we had Friday, we had an outside day where we closed lower, showing a little bit of weakness in the XLF, our ETS for the financials. And then finally, let's take a look at oil. Whoa, let's back up just one page. Looking at oil, we see we're not showing any strength in well, oil is showing a crossover here between the that would be the 50 and the 200-day moving average, 30-day moving average acting as resistance for this latest move, and we're showing a great deal of weakness in oil as it's below $100 per barrel. So it's been quite a week in the S&P as we had a nice week up during quadruple witching week, and we'll see what happens as we move into this next week, the last week in September. For those of you that are gold members, stick around. We've got our stocks to watch, and we should see whether we've got relative strength in these stocks and what they did with the overall market. For those that are not gold members, if you'd like more free videos, go to www.optionsuniversity.com/free gold. With that, this is Market Forecast brought to you by Options University. This is Butch Shorek. It's Monday, September 22nd, 2014. I see you next week.